What is up, Gear Squad? Chaingear here, bringing you another video along with the pride of Boston, Vampire Peaches.
Whoa, that's a new one.
Yeah, I'm just kind of... People like to do that now because Greg Miller and
Right.
Colin Moriarty. Anyway, I'm going to skip that and just let you guys know that we're trying something new. And as I mentioned before on my first recording of this, eat your vegetables. And don't eat olives. I know this is confusing to all of you right now, but today we're here to do a gameplay impressions video. This is GearCast impressions, and we're going to talk about a game that I've been playing for a little while, and you've seen me play just a tad bit.
So how this usually works is that you get a game, or I get a game, and more often than not, we watch each other play it. Mm-hmm. And we always like to have a bit of buffer time, be like, should I get this game by watching each other play it? So the way that I wanted to do this, because this was my idea, is that the person that doesn't play this interviews the other of what they think on certain criteria.
There you go.
And so what is the game in question?
Deus Ex: Mankind Divided, which you can tell by the title.
It looks pretty cool.
So yeah, so this will hopefully happen every once in a while. It'll go up whenever I say it goes up. And I want to know what you guys think in the comment section below. This is not a review.
No.
Have not beaten the game in the slightest.
No.
But I've put lots of time into the game so far. Not lots of time, but a good amount of time, enough for me to be able to make a couple impressions. And so, let's begin. And like I said before, let us know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. Peaches, please begin the interrogation.
Well, I want to know... interrogation.
Where is she? Where's the cooker? Where is she? It was a fun game. I liked it.
Yeah. So, I want to... This is obviously a sequel. This is the fourth game in the Deus Ex franchise?
Minimum. I had Deus Ex, Invisible War, Deus Ex Human Revolution,
Right.
Deus Ex Mankind Divided. There may have been more. Don't quote me. Comment section.
Yeah, I have no idea. So,
but-
I want to know your history with it.
Yeah, I mean, I only played Deus Ex Human Revolution.
Right.
I played Deus Ex Human Revolution on the PlayStation 3. Loved it. I actually beat it, which does not happen often for me. For me to beat games. Yeah, seriously. But it was fun. I love the game, the choices. I always felt like I wanted to keep going. I played it last night. Played it till like 1 o'clock in the morning, 1:30.
So would you say this is something that you think about when you're off doing other things?
Yeah, for sure.
That's what's really important for us, right? Like, is this game sticking with you? Like, you're thinking about it outside?
Yeah, I mean, I still listen to the music of the first game because the soundtrack isn't out on Spotify for the second one. I listen to it while I'm on my way to work, while I'm working. It's like dun 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 dun. Just like typing away. It's awesome. It's a fantastic game for many reasons.
Sure. So, like, what kind of game is it, first of all, for those who have no idea what they're looking at? Because Square Enix loves their cinematic trailers.
Yeah,
and there's like more
sure.
of that than there are gameplay trailers for this game. So.
Yeah. It's a first person. The majority of the time, it's a first person action RPG. It's also an FPS, first person shooter, but it's not like the first person shooter mechanics aren't Titan. It's really all about tactical gameplay.
Right.
You can go through guns blazing, which is a new thing. So similar to Fallout in the respect that like it's not a great shooter by any means, but it is exactly what it needs to get the game going forward.
Sure.
So I wouldn't buy this game if you think you're going to play a tactical espionage first-person shooter. It's not that. It's closer to Metal Gear than it is Call of Duty. So it's not like super first-person shooter running gun, but it definitely has these first-person shooter aspects. But really the idea is choice. It's all about choice.
So what kind of choices are you really making? So does it stem from like dialogue trees, or are you making actual things that affect the game?
Yeah, so I would, first of all, we're not going to spoil anything in this because, again, this is impressions. The game just came out. But I would definitely watch. There are YouTube videos all about Human Revolution. If you don't plan on buying the game on PC or playing it on PlayStation Now, then I would just say watch these videos that are all about the recap of Human Revolution. It's fantastic. It's not that long. It's like 12 minutes, I think, and it's worth watching it because it'll give you a lot of background. But so all of these things happen because of the first game,
right? And
basically, like you start off. Like, right after the first game, some things happen, and basically you're sitting there like, okay, like, what do I do now? Like, you're in a situation, but now you're just making choices, and every single time there's a dialogue tree, the majority of the time it makes a difference.
Wow.
It's not a thing where it's like, Lee will remember that, like in like Telltale, but it's more like, I can completely not do a mission like because I just don't like want to do it. I'll give an example that doesn't give away too much.
Sure.
This game has to do with the Illuminati, which is you're cool with that kind of stuff. It's really fun, right? It's really interesting. And so, for me, there's this time where I work for this one organization and it's getting hacked at the moment. It's a side quest. And so I go out and I'm basically trying to stop this hacker. The hacker is like, yo, man, like, you totally should give me, like, I'm not going to, take a step back. He basically says, I'm not going to hide the truth from the world. I'm going to hack your organization. And I could say, okay, and then shoot him in the head. I could say, okay, and then stun him. I could say, okay, and then, just leave, literally. I could say, okay, let's talk. And then if I talk, I have, a whole bunch of things I can say. There's a dialogue system that reminds me of Oblivion, where you're making all these choices, saying the right things to get a specific response. And Oblivion is way simpler than that. You're, doing kind of a puzzle to get them to say what you want them to say later. Yeah. But in this, they'll have a conversation with you, and you're trying to figure out what the best thing to say is. Right. If you don't like that, there's basically a perk that you can go ahead and put points into that allows you to move the conversation how you want.
So there's an aspect of speechcraft in this as well.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Which, by the way, this is worth mentioning. Mankind Divided has a speech wheel that every game needs to take notice. Okay, so in Fallout, you have 4 options. You have yes, no, like a sarcastic response, and an affirmative response. And a questioning response.
Sure.
What's really annoying is that when you say no as a character, just having the word no as a thing for you to click, your character can say anything from actual word no to I'm going to murder your family. You have no idea how your character is going to respond. It's stop making dialogue choices vague.
Please, sir, give me some food.
It's no, and then your character will shoot them. What just happened? I can't reload this save. So in this, you have this dialogue, you have the dialogue wheel, and when you push your analog stick to affirm a choice, what Adam Jensen is going to say appears as a subtitle below the dialogue wheel, so you know exactly what he's going to say as a response. The Witcher does this a little bit, but because I've been replaying The Witcher 3 because it's one of the best games ever made ever. The dialogue choices are vague but specific enough to know exactly what Geraldo's going to say. He's not going to say anything outlandish. But this, while watching, I was just this makes me mad at every other video game with a dialogue wheel because there's no excuse for this.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean,
it must help with immersion a lot.
Yeah, it's one of the best parts of the game. Hearing Jensen say, Adam Jensen, main character of the game.
Exactly like Batman.
Yeah. Jensen will he's this character that you can really kind of impose yourself on, but definitely has a sense of self.
Okay.
Similar to Geralt, right?
Yeah. Who's this very sweet spot of just vague enough for the player to project themselves onto, but still have a semblance of the personality, kind of like Snake, actually.
Yeah.
Who's the perfect example, I think.
And you get to really sit there and it could be something as simple as talking to a random NPC that is important enough to be able to have dialogue with. Sometimes you don't really have options. Sometimes it's just digging deeper because Adam Jensen is a specific character.
And it's an RPG after all. You're going to be tell me more about this thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then at some point they'll say something and you're like, wait, I need to make a decision here, and they usually let you make that decision. If it's worth it. They won't waste your time. If it's not worth it, they're just not. It's just kind of okay, keep moving. But when you're doing something important, and this stems all the way back to these choices, every single thing you do in the game.
So we talked about the dialogue and not moral choices, but the story choices. So how does that reflect in the gameplay?
Yeah. I mean, you saw in the very beginning of the game
because you've been sneaky deaky.
Oh yeah. For me, guys, I've got to play if there's the option stealth non-lethal every time.
Yep.
If I can play stealth non-lethal in the beginning of the game, why not? I can always go back in the game and just murder everyone later.
I feel like Metal Gear Solid has really imposed that kind of crave of choice onto me because I love the fact that in every single Metal Gear Solid you don't have to kill anybody. None, and you win the game. So, and I think the Dishonored 2, which we're really looking forward to, will hopefully have more fun options.
Oh, yeah. For me, the game that did that was Infamous. Because Infamous forces you to pick one.
Yeah.
So, which I think is a great entry to moral choice in the first place. If you play the Infamous games, you constantly go, okay, well, I literally cannot hit you, human. If I do, I'm in trouble, and the game will penalize me.
As opposed to something with a moral gray area all the time, like The Walking Dead or something.
Right. So it's cool because, like I said, in the very beginning of the game, you saw me walk out of my house, go into someone else's, and basically a guy wanted me to trade with him.
Right.
But he was kind of being a dick. So
okay.
I was like, oh man, this guy's kind of annoying. I might save my game just to see if I can, like, you know, maybe knock him out and take his stuff. Obviously, not a high moral choice in our current society. No. Mugging people isn't normally nice, but this guy was a jerk and I didn't like him. So I, you know, saved my game.
His hat.
Yeah, I saved the game. Would never kill anyone, so I didn't. But I did knock everyone out in the room. It was awesome. I felt really good after it. I stole all of his stuff.
There's a bunch of stuff too. Like,
yeah.
What kind of gun do you have? Because it's a really big, intimidating sniper rifle. Like, well, what kind of rounds are in there?
Yeah, so I've got 2 guns. There are tons of guns. There are tons. There's like 7, 8 guns in the game.
Can you customize your weapons?
Yeah, and you can customize them. Not like to a crazy degree, but to your play style.
Okay.
But I only have 2. Tranquilizing rifle and a stun gun. The only 2 that I use.
The thing is with the tranquilizer rifle, again with Metal Gear, like you have to work your absolute butt off to get a tranquilizer rifle because you have a crappy, loud tranquilizer pistol.
Yeah, which is a different game, right? Like
of course,
in Metal Gear, it's like espionage, so like see if you can. It's really hard to do these things, but like in you know Deus Ex, it's the first decision you actually make.
Wow.
You're again without spoilers, but if you played,
I think they did that in the first game too. It's like, how do you want to go in this?
That's exactly how they do it. Yeah, Deus Ex, Mankind Divided, or Human Revolution, the very beginning, every single time someone's like, hey, we need you to do this mission, how do you want to do it? What do you see? Adam Jensen is an awesome character, and people believe in him, no matter what role you're playing in the game, and so usually they're like, what do you think you should do? You know, we're going to leave it up to you, and you know, I say close quarters or long range. I always say long range to get the tranquilizer rifle, and then they ask, okay, well, do you know, hey, listen, and they always give you choices on purpose. They say, listen, we can go in and you can go in stealthy. It's probably better. No one will ever know you were there, and we'll get the job done. And then someone else will say, yeah, but if you do that and something goes wrong and one of our people die, it's on you.
Right.
So that makes you say, oh crap, like maybe I should go lethal just in case. I always go stealthy and non-lethal, and so that's what I did. But yeah, I mean, you can make these choices, and the choices are like, I beat up those guys. I can never use that shop again, but like, I don't know, it's satisfying.
So explain how linear this game is. Like, is there some sort of hub world? Is it just like a linear progression of missions? Just explain that, because you've hinted at what this is, but so far even I'm confused as to what the format of the game is.
Yeah, you're in an open map, so it's not open world where there's like a huge, like, you're not going from here to like, you know, you're not going to Dubai to Detroit like you did in the first game.
Can you make any comparisons to things that people might
Sure, we're not talking Skyrim.
Okay.
We're not talking Skyrim. We're not talking The Witcher.
Right.
Any of those things. It's a hub world, more like, or a hub map, which is more like Infamous.
Okay.
So the map is open. You can do anything within the map, but it's not that big. It's very condensed. Lots of things to do. It's in Prague, I believe, and it's.
Regular, mysterious, like, I roll my R's in this accent, hence giving you the hint that this is somewhere foreign.
Yeah, and for us, when I played Mankind, Human Revolution, it was all in Detroit, mostly.
Right.
Which was pretty cool. I
remember the Robo Women of the Night.
Yeah. There's lots of things that go on in this game, but so it's an open map kind of thing, and there's side quests and, you know, normal missions, which is why I literally, like, right after the first mission that you do, which is completely linear, I mean, you still have choices on how you want to beat it. You can kill everyone, or you could go ahead and stealth it, or whatever. But once I beat it, my main mission was like, hey, Jensen, meet me at the base. Still haven't done that.
Yeah?
Still have been doing side quests. And the side quests are just so ambiguous, which you saw me do as well. Basically, again, that thing that I was mentioning where a guy was like, hey, give me, like, you know, I'm going to spill the beans on your, you know, where you work. I basically was like, listen, like, I made the choice to talk to him and give him something else in return, which took me on this huge side mission to break into this giant max security data bank where they store the world's most encrypted and intense data. It was crazy, and I spent like 3 hours doing it, and it was so much fun. Like, it was so good, and I've barely played the game.
About to say, so you're definitely invested.
Yeah.
So you would the best kind of open world for me is when you have a bunch of diverse things to do, but when you check your percentage, you're like, 4%. Great.
Yeah, I wouldn't say there's a ton of diverse things to do.
Okay.
It's you're constantly sent on missions, and the missions are Adam Jensen missions. You're not like, all right, now do some yoga. This isn't Grand Theft Auto.
Right.
It's definitely.
Well, GTA really annoys me in the sense that you have a lot of stuff to do, but 90% of it I don't want to do.
Yeah, and it's not even like The Witcher where like Gwent is involved, right?
The world can do is use for Gwent.
It's more like again Infamous where you're constantly using your toolkit at all times. Where The Witcher, you're not always using your toolkit. You're playing.
I think Infamous is a very good comparison because you could be, of course, killing enemies off of a point, taking strongholds, and then this guy would be like, "I want to take pictures of you doing random stuff for you to do."
Yeah, and not that anyone ever tells me to like take pictures, but they will be like.
But what matters is that, in the sense that you're still using your tool set, you're using your skills and abilities.
Yeah. They'll be like, "Hey, go get this like thing for me." But none of the quests are boring either. They're all very contextual, very like all extremely within the storyline. And if you do something within it, it may change the entire world to some degree. The world, because everything you're doing has to do with like the Illuminati and the media and like these big world things. So that side quest that I told you I could have just killed the guy, I did something else that made an impact on the entire world. Woo. That's just a side quest, so that's fun.
That sounds a little intimidating. Good thing you have multiple saves.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So to wrap things up, I want you to talk about the skill trees, like what kinds of points and like what kind of like. I know that there are augmentations that you can do, like to alter like your cyborg self to do different things. But can you explain a little bit of the appeal of the skill tree and what sort of build you're going for?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's cool. Again, if you've ever played Human Revolution, it's the exact same skill tree plus some, which a lot of people dislike.
Yeah, are you annoyed that you have to like go back and like get all those abilities?
You don't.
Right. Okay,
you don't.
Explain that.
That's awesome. I know in some games you will lose all of your stuff. Like
God of
if you're
War.
playing God of War, Batman, right?
Yeah.
Like you played the first
Batman.
game, and then all of a sudden in the second game you lost everything. You have to go get it back. And then the third game comes and you have to get everything back again.
Yep.
In Deus Ex Human Revolution, you build out this character, and basically in Mankind Divided, they're saying, okay, well, you had probably these things, maybe not, but whatever. You have a whole bunch of really great powers, and then you actually have to respec and put all your points back. It's not all of it, but it's the majority. It's a lot. So you kind of can build out
I
your
have to leave a
character.
semblance of progression there and be like, okay,
Yeah.
I still have goals to strive for.
It's so cool because you're able to just be like, oh, like I already know I want to play as a stealthy character. If you don't know that, then go ahead and respec, in some sort of balance that you think is right.
Can you list a couple examples of what kind of skills?
Sure. So, let's say there's Honestly, that's a tough question. There's a lot.
Yeah?
So think about it as the
Just a
human
few.
body. The human body is the best way to think about it. There's cranium augs, which allow you to think in a specific way. There's eye augs, which allow you to see in a specific way and tag people in a specific way. There's arm augs that
So
allow
this game you have to
break
actually
through.
earn the right to see through walls rather than it just do that and like.
Yeah, granted, you can get it immediately. So again, like these are things that you got in the first game. Right?
Sure.
And so you have your battery cells that you can upgrade. You have your heart that you can upgrade.
Because battery cells you have to use up to use those abilities, right?
Yes, yeah. You have your lungs that you can upgrade. You have your arm.
lungs.
Yep, respiratory system. So if there's like gas grenades, or if there's gas grenades mostly. Your legs that you can augment, and then there are these new augments that I don't want to spoil at all. Though you can actually see them in the trailer, so I lied. They have like a shield upgrade where you're completely invincible, basically.
All right, is that like black scaly?
Yeah,
thing?
yeah,
That looks
it's
dope.
awesome. I'm never going to use it for my first playthrough because
I
only
imagine
play
there's
stealth.
something that can turn you invisible.
Invisible, yeah, like and it's so there's all these awesome augments, arm blades, stuff like that. Before we actually end, do you mind if I give a couple of things I'm concerned about?
Oh yeah.
So it's not a review.
Criticisms.
Yeah, but I did want, before we hit like the 20-minute mark, I just wanted to mention that this game is awesome and you should totally buy it if you're interested. But there is the glaring issue that this game is like running very similar to Human Revolution.
Oh yeah, explain that, please.
Not in terms of the gameplay, it's very similar, but like that doesn't bother me. That's up to you. If you're, if you like Human Revolution, you'll like Mankind Divided. If you thought there was going to be a huge step and like all these different changes, there's not. But there's also not that much of a change in the graphics and how the game runs. Like it's not super smooth.
I'll say this about the graphics. The one thing that really annoyed me in my very short time playing Human Revolution was that the in-game engine looked 10 times better than the actual cutscenes. Like everything had this weird like wash and gross like texture on it. Like everything looked a little glassy.
Yeah.
The game looks great, but explain what
it looks good, but there's a lot of frame rate issues. When you talk with someone, it's kind of like, you kind of just have to listen and you're like, oh man, this is really interesting. But if you look at the guy's face, I'm like, yes, I am in Prague. You must help me. and you're just kind of like, yeah, I'm Adam. Like, and you're just kind of like,
You're talking about like disconnected, like lip syncing or like bodily animation.
Yeah, like body animations, like in lip syncing. It's
My
just
favorite thing in The
like,
Witcher 3 is just like, I'm talking to you and I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna keep folding my arms and do a different thing. But I'll go back to folding my arms. I'm like,
which is like fine. It's an indie game,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where like Deus Ex
That's
is made
still
by a
wild.
AAA developer. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where it's like it kind of bothers me a little bit, and like even just running through the city.
so
like,
it's enough to take you out of the immersion, huh?
no. It's not.
Okay.
But for me, I think for other people it could. I think for you it would probably bother you a little bit more than it would bother
I couldn't.
me.
This is a guy that couldn't play Just Cause 2, a very beloved game, because the voice acting was so.
Which is funny because it's literally that game. Like you don't even have to care about the. I don't know what happened in that game, but for you it was so bad.
It was so terrible.
Yeah.
And mind you, this is a guy that like played OG Resident Evil and enjoyed it. I can't do that now. I literally can't. I cannot.
But yeah. Overall, you know, as in first impressions, I love the game. It's definitely worth $60. I mean, it's a great game. You know, I definitely think it's worth buying comparatively to No Man's Sky, which is a different conversation. I don't think it's worth $60, but this is definitely worth $60. If you have the choice to get it on PC and you have a great rig, do it. Even though it's not working at its best right now, they will patch it, and maybe it's worth waiting until it drops a little bit in price for that. But like you'll be able to run it way nicer, looking, you know, way better frame rate and stuff like that. For PlayStation, there's just nothing you can do. When I'm running down the streets, the frame rate will get choppy and stuff. But when you're doing the missions, you're just in it.
Good.
You know? So that's basically it.
Sure.
Yeah. Is that it? We're good?
Yeah, we're good.
And that is GearCast impressions. I hope you guys like this video. We try and make them shorter than the rest of them, and it's really just 20-minute impressions, just talking about what we've done so far. And so if you like this video, like it. If you dislike it, tell us why in the comments section below. But that's
I'll give a bit of a tease. The next one that I want to do, granted that I'm doing these couple jobs. Hopefully, the next one that I want to do is Attack on Titan.
interesting.
Like I'll get Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
And then we'll do this on the flip side.
Yeah. For sure. I'd love that. I mean, I've heard mixed reviews about it so far, so we'll definitely have to see. So, like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and share so people know about this game and how Chaingear Gaming feels about it. Yeah, that's basically it. So subscribe, all that good stuff. I'll see you guys online when the patch drops, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot, guys.
Adam, you have to stop the video.
I didn't ask for this.
Adam.